A very good morning to one and all present here. I welcome you all for this today's section. The topic for the today's section is the overview of international trade. An overview to the international trade can be explained under 14 subheadings. Under that, first one is globalization. Globalization is the process by which business or other organizations develop international influence or start operating on an international scale. And the second one is outsourcing. Outsourcing is the business practice of hiring a party outside a company to perform the service and create the goods that traditionally were performed in house by the company's own employees and staff. The practice of outsourcing is subject to considerable controversy in many countries. The third one is tariff. Tariff is a tax or duty to be paid on a particular class of imports or exports. The fourth one is import. Import means bringing the goods or services into a country from abroad for sale. And the fifth one is cost. Cost is the value of money that has been used up to produce something or deliver a service. The sixth one is customs. Customs is an authority or agency in a country responsible for collecting tariffs and for controlling the flow of goods, including animals, transports, personnel, and etc., into and out of country. And the seventh comes freights. Freight can be explained in two ways. Freight is also called as goods transported in bulk by trunk, train, ship, or aircraft. The another way of explanation for the freight is also known as freight rate. It is an amount paid to the carrier company for transportation of goods from point of origin to an agreed location. The freight charge is calculated based on the type of mode of transportation and the distance between the pickup place and the place of destination. And ninth one is document. Documents means record something in written or photographic or other form. Example, invoice. And tenth one is insurance. Insurance is an arrangement by which a company or a state undertakes to provide a guarantee of compensation for specified loss or damage, illness, or death in return for payment of a specified premium. And the 11th one is exchange rate. Exchange rate is the value of one currency for the purpose of conversion to another. And the 12th one is origin. Origin is the point or a place where something behinds, arises, or is derived. And 13th one is law. Law is the set of rules decided by a particular state meant for the purpose of keeping the peace and security of the society. Last but not least, it is pricing. Pricing plays a very important role in the international trade. Pricing is the process whereby a business sets the price at which it will sell its products and services and may be the part of business marketing plan. These are the important four subheadings that comes under an overview to the international trade. Next, let's see the overview of international trade in a detail. Under that, first one is introduction for overview of international trade. The second one is classification of international trade. And the third one is type of international trade. And the fourth one is characteristics of international trade. And the fifth one is role or importance of international trade. And the sixth one is reasons for international trade. And the seventh one is benefits of international trade. And the eighth one is barriers to international trade. Ninth one is problems and challenges of international trade. And the 10th one is advantages of international trade. 11th one is disadvantages of international trade. And the 12th one is conclusion. Let's see one by one. Let's first discuss about the introduction of overview of international trade. This is an introduction for overview of international trade. The trade between two or more countries is called foreign trade or international trade. This involves the exchange of goods and services between the citizens of two countries when the citizens of one country exchange the goods and services with the citizens of another country is called a foreign trade. The aim of international trade is to increase the production and to raise the standard of living of the people. International trade helps the citizens of one nation to consume and enjoy the portion of goods produced in some other nation. And next comes classification of trade. The trade is classified under three types. The first one is import trade, the second one is export trade, and the third one is entreport trade. Import trade is nothing but it is an inflow of goods in a country is called import trade. Export trade is the outflow of goods from a country is called export trade. Entreport trade means many times the goods are imported for the purpose of re-export after some processing operation. This is called entreport trade. And next comes types of international trade transactions. The international trade transaction has four types. Let's see one by one. The first one is direct business. In direct business, the importer places the order with manufacturer of the exporting country. The second one is consignment business. Under consignment business, the exporter sends the goods to an agent in the importing country. And the third one is intent firms. The intent firms charge a commission for the services. The intent firms also called as commission agents. And the fourth comes merchant shippers. This is a class of businessmen who buy the goods on their own account and sell them in a foreign country at a profit. And next comes characteristics of international trade. These are the characteristics of international trade. Under that, first one is territorial specialization, and the second characteristics is international competition, and the third characteristics is separation of sellers from buyers, and the fourth characteristics is long chain of middlemen, and the fifth characteristics is international rules and regulation, and the sixth one is mutually acceptable currency, and the seventh characteristics is government control. And the eighth one is several documents. These are the characteristics of international trade. And the next one is role or importance of international trade. Let's see what are all the roles of international trade. Under that first one, division of labor and specialization. And the second one is optimum allocation and utilization of resource. And the third one is raises standard of living of the people. And the fourth one is generate employment opportunities, and the fifth one is equality of prices, and the sixth one is ensure the quality and standard goods, and seventh one is facilitate the economic development, and the eighth one is to improve the quality of local products, and ninth one is availability of multiple choices. These are the roles and importance of the international trade. The next one is reasons for international trade. Let's see one by one. What are the reasons for international trade? Under that, first one, reduce the dependence on your local market. Second one, increase the chance of success. And third one, increased efficiency. And the fourth one, increased productivity. And the fifth one is to enjoy the economic advantage. And the sixth one is innovation. And the last one is growth. These are the reasons of international trade. And the next one is benefits of international trade. Under that first one is efficient allocation and better utilization of resource. And the next one is variety of goods. And the next one is available for consumption. And the next benefit is promotes the efficiency in the production. And the next benefit is utilization of surplus and produce. And the next one is consumption at cheaper cost. And the next is more employment. And the next is reduce the trade fluctuation. These are the important benefits of international trade. And the next one is barrier to international trade. Barriers is nothing but the difficulties that faced by the international traders in international business. Let's see what and all the barriers that the international traders will be facing while undergoing the international transaction. Under that, first one is cultural and social barriers. The second one is political barriers, and third one is tariff and trade restrictions, and the fourth one is standards, and the fifth one is boycotts. Boycotts is nothing but it is withdraw from commercial or social relations with a country or nation or a person as a punishment or pretext. And the next one is anti-dumping penalties, and the last one is monetary barriers. These are the barriers to the international trade. And the next one is problems of international trade. Let's see what and all the problems of international trade that faced by the international traders while undergoing their international business. The first problem that faced by the international trader is distance. The second one is different language, and the third one is risk in transit. The fourth one is intense competition. The fifth one is difficulties in payment. The sixth one is import and export restriction. The seventh one is transport and communication. And the eighth one is lack of information about the international traders. These are the important problems that faced by the international traders while undergoing the international trade or international business. And the next one is advantages of international trade. The advantages of international trade are optimum use of natural resource and availability of all type of goods, advantages of large scale production, stability in price, increase in efficiency, promotes competition, fall of price, and speedy industrialization. These are the advantages of international trade. The next one is disadvantages of international trade. Under that first one, excursion of resources, effect on domestic industries. Third one, effect on consumption habits. And the fourth one is times of emergency. And the fifth one is economic dependence. And the sixth one is political dependence. And the seventh one is import of harmful goods. And the last one is misutilization of natural resource. These are the disadvantages of international trade. This is conclusion about the overview of international trade. In conclusion, it can be understood that international trade leads to economic growth provided the policy measures and economic infrastructure are accommodative enough to manage with the changes in social and financial scenario that result from it. International trade opens up the opportunity for developed countries whereby it increases their capacity to produce and acquire the goods. It should, however, be controlled so as to avoid the closing of some local companies in the home country. Thank you all.